Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to our channel and thanks for logging on. Today we're discussing the Omega Seamaster 300M GMT. You can see and you can purchase this GMT on our website. Subscribe to our YouTube channel if you enjoy these videos, and please click on the card in the upper right hand corner of the screen at any time during this video to see our full commercial listing for this watch with additional accessories included, high resolution images, and naturally full pricing details for this watch we're offering. Now on my wrist, 6 1/3 inches, 16 centimeters in circumference, you can see that the watch is the classic 41.5mm steel bond case, the so-called bond case from the 1990s. Everyone who knows Omega from the era knows it. It's an iconic form that borrows the beveled lugs and the asymmetrical case form from the great 1960s Seamaster 300s and Speedmaster Professionals. And apart from its nominal measurement of 41.5mm, it actually has a couple of other measurements that really dictate how you'll wear it. 13.5mm thick means this one is nice and slim. So elegant as it is with the white dial, yes, white, not silver, it easily slides underneath a tight dress cuff and looks at home with formal attire. I will say that from extremity to extremity, measured from the solid end link to its opposite number on the other side, it's a broad 52.5mm across the wrist, which is on the large side for approximately a 41mm timepiece. So it does fill out the wrist and have a good stance. For those of you who worry that it might be too small, it does not wear small. It wears thin, but it wears broad. It has a very substantial bracelet. As you can see, this one a bit more like the Rolex Oysters than the somewhat more delicate Bond era Seamaster 300M bracelets. Now this one more robust, but by no means uncomfortable. That doesn't mean it's stiff, that doesn't mean it's clunky. It has beautiful channeling between the links on the underside. You can see how broad those channels are to avoid pinching skin or pulling hair, and it's all of a subdued finish, and the watch is overall subdued, a bit more formal, a bit more elegant than a conventional Seamaster 300. Part of that's down to the use of fewer high polished surfaces. In fact, the bevels of the lugs are the only polished surfaces. Now you can see that the bracelet still terminates in the famed Omega milled out twin trigger clasp. Now this is exactly what we saw in the old Bond Seamasters, including its wonderful milled out dive extension. Now you may never need to use this over a wetsuit or a dry suit, but if you know that it also works over thick sweaters and winter coats, you realize just how versatile it can be. And of course, just as crisp as it ever was, it's just as solid as it ever was. With the security of twin trigger release, it can't accidentally pop open. Now it has a dial and a bezel that are a bit at odds with our memories of the Seamaster 300M. We remember the Bonds, but in this case, very distinct from the 300M divers. This one has no helium valve for a cleaner case flank. It has a bidirectional rotating 24-hour bezel that you can use, as with Rolex's GMT Master 2 family, to discern a temporary 3 time zones. Now let me move the minute hand out of the way so you can see exactly how the second time zone is read. There is a red 24-hour hand that moves in 1 cycle per day, and that can be set to GMT, and if you do so, you can read 3 time zones simultaneously. Otherwise, simply set it to give you AM-PM distinction for the local hand time at center, or to let you read a remote time zone where you might have friends, family, or business connections, so you avoid the 4 a.m. wake-up call and don't mistake that for 4 p.m. Of course, it does feature an immense amount of luminescent material and a somewhat vintage-inspired giant triangle, harking back to the late 1960s and once again those vintage Seamaster 300s. But it is thoroughly modern, all in superluminova. It will never fade. Moreover, this one features a charming ghosted hand application at the roots of the minute and hour hands. You can see where they're silvered to create the appearance that the blackened hands themselves are floating over the dial. They also help you to better distinguish the hands against the backdrop of the dial. This is something that you might recall from the first generation Rolex Explorer 2s or the latest generation revival of that first Explorer 2. The same feature is used here by Omega. Now of course there is a date, but there is no conventional quickset. The hour hand adjusts independently of the minute and 24-hour hand, and you drive the date by advancing the local hour hand at center. Now it is a chronometer, and it is blessed with Omega's caliber 1128. This is a 21 joule 2892 based automatic chronometer grade caliber that features the second time zone, the date, It features hacking seconds, so you pull the crown to extremity, you stop the balance, synchronized to a known accurate reference time, and although it is bereft of the helium valve, many consider the case to be cleaner and more attractive without. Nevertheless, it is still water resistant to 300 meters, as are the rest of the members of this particular family. You can see and you can purchase this Omega Seamaster 300 meter GMT on our website.